I don't understand how the main character is just gonna let himself get caught slipping like this, but you know what? Bullshit happens. Fuck it, whatever. My Hero Academia Chapter 410, How to Get Hoed. All for One is clearly in his final moments. The man has truly approached his end. He is crawling on the floor, scrounging for the strength to get to Shigaraki, to take his body and secure victory. When the smoke finally clears and the dust settles, all that's left of All for One is a weak infant. The time clock on All for One has turned back so far to where he's barely an infant now. Bokugo looks at All for One surprised that after the damage All for One has taken and the amount of time the rewind quirk from Eri-chan has been active, All for One is still alive? A battered Bokugo, coughing up blood, unable to move. The momentum has been lost. There is still one thing that remains true. That All for One is at death's door and will disappear at any given moment. Bokugo is about to fall flat. Victory is secured. The likelihood that All for One is gonna reach Shigaraki is slim to none. But you know what? You ever heard that saying that it ain't over until it's over? Infant or not, it's still All for One, mass maniacal manipulator, an all-time villain quirk stealer. All for One is still breathing. Close your eyes, cause the Geneva Convention just turned into the Geneva Suggestion. A weak Bokugo puts all of his strength, all his weight onto one leg before falling to the ground, telling All for One, "That was close. I almost gave you that shot. But with you breathing, that bag ain't secured." In desperation, All for One shoots the bone quirk from his mouth that he had collected and stolen from his mother at birth. A needle made out of callous calcium, and hatred is moving full speed at Bokugo. And this motherfucking pit bull catches that shit with his teeth and tells All for One, "Good night," and blows All for One to high heaven. The flames from Bokugo are consuming All for One, and in the midst of all this, All for One begins to revert and rewind and revert and rewind until he's just an embryo. All the quirks that All for One had stolen are returning to their users. All that's left is the dust that simmers down and a victorious Bokugo standing over what would be a dead carcass of All for One. A victory pose from Bokugo is stricken. Transition to a few days earlier, Best Jeanist is having a meeting with the students from UA, more specifically the classmates of Izuka, and Jeanist is telling everybody that they have to trap Shigaraki inside of that containment arena, because if he gets let out, the same destruction that happened at Jakku City will take place once again. Jeanist goes on to say more about how he'd much rather prefer to deal with All for One rather than to deal with Shigaraki, seeing as that All for One is much more of a dictator personality who wants to rule the world, rather than Shigaraki who just wants to see the world burn down, simply because Shigaraki's got nothing to lose. When it comes down to it, whether the class stands strong or gets beaten down, they need a place to stand on. They need to protect the bunker that houses all the friends and all their family. Transition to the present day, and there is nothing but absolute destruction. There aren't any structures that surround Shigaraki anymore. You can't even see it in the background of the panel. You can't see a thing. There's literally fucking tsunamis crashing down into the city, and the only thing that people can do is stand back and watch on the TVs inside the bunker as they watch the house that mama and daddy built get annihilated. Shigaraki is spotted saying that he wants to completely and utterly destroy Japan, saying that he can completely cover the 378,000 square kilometers of land within the week, completing his magnum opus of destruction and making it so humanity can't even rebuild. And then there's Deku right on Shigaraki's ass. fighting something that, to be honest, is more dangerous than, more untamed, and more unstable than All For One ever was. Shigaraki turns his head, telling Uzuko, telling him that he knows All For One is dead, that he can feel it, how All For One has finally reaped what he sowed, and how he can thank All For One for making him stronger, strong enough to match the speed of One For All. A hand. A hand that steals quirks, comes from out of that big ass tsunami, and makes contact with the face of our main character. And within a split second, the hand of Shigaraki is completely ripped away. So is a piece of Deku. Diagori Banjo, the quirk wielder of the Black Whip, appears before Deku, screaming in emotional pain that the danger sense user Shinamori has disappeared, and the danger sense quirk has been stolen. Shigaraki asks Deku, how long do you think you can last? End of chapter 410. Roll the ad. Hey guys, don't forget to check out my collectible store. Recently got this last set of JJK Funko Pops. Got Mahito, Megami, Gojo, Yuji, and lastly Nobita, RIP. All of these come in protection cases and they are all sold together. Not sold separately. This is a collection set, a 5-piece collection set for Jujutsu Kaisen. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. Appreciate it.